Hey, good afternoon, Jan.
Michael, good afternoon.
Good to see you, sir.
2, 2 p.m. here. It's still not
Ah,
daylight saving.
oh, okay. Yeah, we're usually just 1 week off. I wonder what's going
No,
on this
it's
time.
the last week, the last Saturday of March. So that should be the 29th. So even next week,
Hmm.
it's still not gonna be.
And
Look,
next week you are out for 2 weeks,
no,
or is it the week after that?
I don't think so. Did
Oh,
I say anything? It's very
yeah, I might be thinking
Wait,
about.
no, next
Okay,
week I'm here.
okay,
The week after, no, the week after the 3rd of April. I should be back,
okay.
but I have something in the morning. But if ever that, but I just knew it, so I didn't think
Okay.
I told you already.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I must be thinking about uh, yeah, the last month or just a few weeks
Where?
ago. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Time is
Oh,
weird.
I must. Oh, I must have been telling things that I don't remember because even no, it was the day before yesterday. Somebody told me, yeah, but then you're going off, and then you're going off. I said, no, not at all. Yeah, but you told me. I said, I don't remember, and it's not it's not the case. So perhaps I've been telling things which I don't remember and which are not true. No, no. So next week I will be there for sure.
Okay,
And when
excellent.
I when I look at myself in the picture, I'm so excited about the difference. But I see on the picture it doesn't make a lot of difference. Apart from all the
Oh,
rubbish over there that is still
yeah.
there. But here behind me,
Mm-hmm.
it's
There we
manageable
go.
now. And the biggest difference is in front of me. I have access again behind the monitors. It was full of things which were packed one behind another. I had no access anymore, so
Hmm.
I cleaned it up. Um, no, I should have been working on DWS, but I did that instead.
Well, that needs to happen every once in a while too. Yes. Yeah,
it,
I have
it
all
was
sorts of
really a mess.
stuff. I've got some D&D dice bags that I don't have any dice in because I moved them to another one. And then of course my Rubik's cube is over here. Um, my stereoscopic projection, uh, 3D printed from. Yeah, this one's
Huh?
really cool. Henry Segerman, yeah, he's got a YouTube channel where he's doing all sorts of mathematical shapes. Um,
Mm,
he uh, he he wrote a book with all sorts of shapes that you could 3D print, and this is the one
mm,
that's on the cover. Um, it's a stereographic projection of a grid onto a sphere, and by
yeah.
stereographic that means that you take the North Pole and you project it through the sphere onto the plane below it, and wherever it intersects, that's where you project, or where that point meets. And so, if you were to put a light right at the top,
Yeah.
then this would unfold and you would get a perfect grid in shadow on the table. It's beautiful.
And that's why there is no there is a hole at the top
Yes.
because that's infinity.
Yep. Exactly.
That projects to infinity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. I love
So
having
it's
that one on my desk. So yeah, all sorts of mathematical objects just kind of laying around the
yeah.
desk.
For me the most complicated 3D thing is a Möbius ring,
Uh huh. Oh yeah, that's
but, that one is more fascinating.
yeah. You know
Um,
the 3D. Actually, the painting that Kayla did for me, which was on the cover of
mm,
the first edition.
yeah.
That is the 3D version of a Mobius loop. That's called a Klein bottle.
Yeah. 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 You told me. You told me. Mm. No, in my case, it was really a lot of old stuff
Mhm.
that was that was one next to another and getting higher and higher, and then things that you don't use anymore or things
Mhm.
that I will need next week.
Yeah.
You throw it away. I didn't need it the last 10 years, but I will
Uh-huh.
need it next
Now I
week.
need it next week. Yes.
Yeah.
That's just how it
So,
goes.
but at least I have some place now to put new things.
Oh, very good.
I
Yeah.
still see some things that I can throw away.
Well, we can't do it all at once. You gotta just
No,
take it easy. Yeah. Do this
but
gradually.
but 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 one of the files is outgoing invoices from 1999 to 2002. So I
Well, I
think,
hope you sent those out.
yeah. But I think that one nobody will ask me anymore.
Yeah.
So not even necessary to digitize it. I can just throw it away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Very true.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing a lot of work on basically three different projects. One of them is a new Pluralsight course. So yeah, doing a course in the Fundamentals of Computing series. So they're putting together a whole bunch of fundamentals courses. So these are not so much the how to use this version of this framework kind of a thing, but instead um, what's the math and logic of computer science, algorithms,
Mhm.
and so the one that I'm doing is distributed and parallel computing, um,
Okay.
and it's just the foundations.
Mhm.
Should be able to apply these things to anything. So uh, I'm having a good time with that. Um, and I wanted to, even though it's not about using tools, I wanted to show some good demonstrations. So yeah, put together some demonstrations using mass transit and Kafka. Um, and I'll be doing one with Akka.net, and
Mhm.
I'll be doing some stuff with Poly. So even though these things are going to change, I'm just putting together a real quick demonstration, not showing the code, but just from from the outside how this thing behaves. So this
Okay.
is the difference between topics and partitions in Kafka versus queues and exchanges in RabbitMQ and Mass Transit, um, and how they behave differently. And
Mhm.
so yeah, I'm even going to throw in a little bit of Janaga there. So the one that the module I'm working on right now is about distributing your data. So putting your data in, like if you are in a microservices environment, caching your data at the microservice instead of making synchronous calls out to all your peer microservices. Um, then at
Mhm.
the BFF layer, caching your data or projecting it, better yet, at the BFF, so that when you make that call, you can immediately return the results instead of calling out to a bunch of microservices and aggregating the results. And then uh, the demo will actually be caching your data at the client. So it's like, oh, okay, I'll build a little Janaga application and turn the caching on and off, and you can see the difference.
Mhm.
So show the little all the requests out to the feeds. Turn uh, the simulator for a slow network connection. Turn that on. Um, what would this look like under 3G? And then you can see the screen just gradually refreshing and all of these things, and the user's waiting on this. Then okay, let's turn on that caching, and now the screen immediately appears, and you still see it fetching new data in the background, but the user's not blocked.
Mhm.
So end of demo. Nice and simple.
And then in combination with the telemetry that you implemented on the replicator.
Yes, yes, yeah. That is coming. That's the final module is going to be on observability.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'll be showing the telemetry, and then I'll also be showing a little bit of math, how you can use. It begins with a K. There's there's a formula, Kingsman's formula, something like that, that relates utilization to cycle time. And so I'll say, this is how you can measure utilization using Prometheus and Grafana. And then run this little equation, and now you can predict what the cycle time will do as you add nodes. So now you don't have to you don't have to just run a whole bunch of experiments. Yeah, you still need to run the experiments, but you don't just have to blindly search for the best configuration. You run this formula, run this equation, predict what it should be. Let's deploy that and see if it actually works. So that'll be fun.
And for when is that course targeted to be available?
That's I'm going to be working on it until about the end of April, maybe beginning of June. So then it usually launches shortly after that finish, because we kind of keep up with the review and that kind of thing. So yeah, expect it for certain by the end of June.
All right, it's pretty fast.
Yeah, these are supposed to be nice short courses. In fact, I was also the reviewer for the Math and Logic course, because when they said, hey, we want to do these courses, I said, I want to do that one. And I said, no, we already have another author for that one. But I'm the Math and Logic guy, come on. No, you're the distributed systems guy. Yeah, okay, I guess I am.
Both. Math and distributed systems.
Yeah. Yeah, but Simon Robinson did the Math and Logic one, so I did the review on that one, and that's a really great foundation, like things like De Morgan's theorems and set theory and the pigeonhole principle, all the little tools that you need to use in order to prove your results and understand why certain things behave the way they do. So
okay, I haven't. I was not aware that that one was there. So,
yep, that one.
Math and Logic is already available.
Yes,
or not yet.
Yeah, that one just launched.
Okay, I will have a look at that.
Yeah, so that's a nice short one.
They even didn't send publicity for that. The last publicity I received was for a live webinar on artificial intelligence.
Yeah, they're
next week, I think.
Yeah, they're really promoting that. Yeah, there are new courses coming out all the time, so yeah, they can't advertise every new course, but I think when they get a little bit more of this series in place, they'll probably have one push for, here's this Foundations of Computing series.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see.
Yeah, so that's gonna be good. So that was one project. Another project, of course, the university example with the telemetry, and then third project is the code launch application. So put a lot of energy into that one too. So yeah, got my energy split 3 ways, which makes me happy.
Nice. I still saw some GitHub commits coming in.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. So let's do a quick share and see what
has been tested. It has been tested, or we will see the test now.
Yeah, some things have been tested. Yes. Yes. So there's the share on Zoom, and then let's do the share for this one. There we go. For the stream. Excellent. All right. Okay. So let's start with what has changed. So in Janaga.net, let's start there. We had, I'll go back here. We had an issue. This is awesome. So issue means that this person's actually trying to do a thing and ran into a problem. So yeah, this I'm just excited to see. Okay, he's trying to use it, and so yeah, the issue is that he's got He's using the successor.no syntax in Janaga.net, and then using the same lambda variable a couple of times uh, within the specification. Yeah, this didn't format very well, but you can see here is x for prior role assignment, and then another x for prior specification. And in fact, oh yeah, okay, sorry, yeah. X, yeah, that defines the unknown here specification, and this x defines the role assignment. So the successor.no is what gives you the not exists. So yeah, those two lambdas turned into these two conditions. And when you're just looking at this specification, that's really not a problem, because this x is scoped here. It's not going to leave that existential condition, and that one is scoped here. So, so yeah, we know that these two labels don't interact with one another. So there shouldn't be any problem. And in fact, if you tried to execute this specification, there wouldn't be. The problem comes in when you do a subscribe, and then as soon as something comes in, it tries to execute the inverse. And the inverse basically takes there are three inverses for this particular actually this one probably has four. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think this one has four. So each inverse is going to take one of these labels and pull it out and make that the given. So you'll have one that has n unit assignment as the given, and then another one x role assignment is the given, and another one x specification is the given. And so when you pull this out as a given, you then have x up here and x down here. And now one is in the scope of the other. There's still no interaction here. I know that if I get into this scope, I could replace that x, and I won't refer to the one that's been pulled out here. But I tested that in both .NET and in Java. So yeah, clearly here .NET, Janaga.net gives you an error, and not Java, JavaScript. Janaga.js also gives you a similar error, which makes sense because I basically just port back and forth. So so I was thinking, okay, should I make the specification execution overwrite if you reuse the name of a label, knowing that you wouldn't have gotten into that situation in this particular case, that it would matter, or do I change this so that it automatically generates a brand new label name? And I opted for the latter. I opted for generating a new label name because I would have to fix it in two places. He would have to deploy it in two places. So grab a new replicator and a new client library. And so if I just generate a specification that doesn't even have that problem, then he only needs to upgrade the client library. So, yep, did a little bit of analysis on it. Did a fix.
Mm-hmm.
And we have this resolved.
Okay.
So, Janaga.net. What's new? So now in here we should have a brand new test. So here's Janaga.test, and we have inside of our specification test, so a whole bunch of specifications. There is one about reusing it's either, yeah, there it is. So basically replicated the issue. I used where no instead of successor.no, but where no is really just where successors no. So it it does the same thing. And yeah, give it the same name, and we get the same name here. And now here it generates x2 instead of x. So it uses that as a seed, as a root, and then it says, oh, that one's already used. Let me start with 2, and then keep counting until I find something unique.
And so the collision has been solved.
Yep. Yep, and now every label in this specification is unique, so we don't have to worry about making it tolerate redefinitions.
Mm-hmm.
Which I still might do at some point in the future, just because it should be okay. But yeah, the TypeScript or the JavaScript version, Janaga.js, wouldn't have had the same issue with generating it, because in JavaScript we can't even see this name. So here we're using airline day because that's the name of the Lambda parameter, but that's because expression trees give us access to those names. But yeah, in JavaScript we don't have access to those names, so we can't even reuse those names. So it's already coded to just come up with a brand new name every time.
Yep.
So that was one pretty exciting.
So that means that that guy is actually using it for.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That is
okay.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, Lateral. If you want to reach out and let us know what you're building, I would love to see it.
No, because we don't have any further information.
Yeah. Well, that is the blessing and the curse of open source. So, yeah, and then yeah, this one here, this is a change that that should, or actually, I even posted some evidence. This does improve the behavior of the university mesh that we've been testing with.
Mm.
So with this one, oh, this, yeah, real quick aside, this is a cool little feature that has been, so you can add reviewers to any pull request, and so this has been there for ages. But one of the reviewers that shows up is Copilot, and so you can see I already added Copilot as a reviewer. And this is still a beta feature, so you have to get into the beta program in order to get access to this one. But then Copilot will review your PR and make suggestions. This is the funniest thing. It's every single time I've tried this. Comments suppressed due to low confidence. It's like, well, I don't know if this is a real thing, and it even labels it nitpick. And then it usually comes up with the absolute best suggestions and just says, this is a nitpick. It's like, wait a minute, no. In fact, in one case, the suggestion actually revealed a bug. It's like, oh my goodness, that's not going to work in these conditions. So yeah, they just need to bump that confidence. it comes up with some good suggestions. But yeah, then it kind of summarizes the PR, just describes it. So, that's a really good summary. So yeah, what I'll typically do is run that, and then I don't think in this
implement
case
the
I implemented the
suggestions.
suggestion. Yeah, I think this one I considered this one to be fine. So yeah, memory store is an implementation of iStore, and iStore is persistent. It already is a it's in the interface. So
Mm.
So even though memory store doesn't declare it as virtual, I can still implement the interface with it. So as long as you're not calling it as a memory store, but as an iStore, then you get the right implementation. And that was specifically for a fake, just so that I could test and yeah, just pretend that the memory store was persistent, so that I could test this behavior. But yeah, so in that case, I decided not to take it. But yeah, in most cases, I was like, oh, I'm doing that. But but yeah, so this change, it basically, if we look at files changed, it completely rewrites the queue processor. So yeah, just a few little changes, to add parameters all over the place. But then we get down to, oh, that's the fake network that we were just looking at, and then yeah, that's the brand new test for the queue processor, just to make sure it has this new behavior. But somewhere in here is the queue processor itself. Yeah, there it is. So it's like, yep, just a complete rewrite of this thing. Yeah, in fact, it was in a different place, and actually, wait a minute. This introduced the queue processor in the first place. Anyway, yeah, but what this is basically, yeah, it's really hard to see there. So let's dive into it here. Control Q, Control T. Control T is not working anymore. Control T is supposed to take you over there. Queue processor. Ooh. Okay. So yeah, for this, I found that something that I thought would be there wasn't there. Okay, so what we need to do is whenever we add a new fact from the front end, we need to wake up the queue processor, but have it wait just a little bit before it actually does anything. So it signals. Well, that's process queue now. Here we go. Schedule processing. This is the one that is called whenever you just add a new fact. So it signals the processing, or yeah, processing signal. It says, all right, processing is needed. And we've got down here a process queue async function. So this is kind of the background task. And so checking our cancellation token, and then we wait for that processing signal using wait async. So we are asynchronously waiting for this signal to be raised. And then once it's raised, again, check the cancellation request because time has passed, and then wait for some delay of milliseconds. It defaults to 100 milliseconds. And then after that delay, check for cancellation again, and then reset both of those, and then call fact manager save. So prior to prior to 2 changes ago, it was just calling fact manager or network manager save immediately every time. And so it would just start a background task, call it. And so it could, every time you call j.fact, it would start a new background task and then call network manager save. So you'd get these parallel requests going back to the replicator that would then conflict with one another because they're all trying to insert different subset of the graph. So
So by weighting the risk that you have a collision by needing the same fact multiple times is reduced.
yes, exactly. Yep. So that wait lets you get the other facts into the graph before it goes. But then also the fact that this is just one background process, it's one loop. So we've got this loop can only be doing one thing at a time, and our network manager save is now inside of this loop. So yeah, as long as we don't start multiple instances of this loop, then we get that back pressure where, I'm still working on a save. You've got more work to do. Well, you're just going to queue it up, and then
Mm.
when the replicator is done, save is finished, and then it'll loop back through, and it'll see, oh, processing signal is set now because there was new work to be done. It got reset here before we actually did the effect manager save. Um, and so, yeah, if work comes in here, it's going to come back through here. It'll still do a delay, so it won't immediately call back to the replicator. Um, but yeah, you'll have a good cadence of, here's all the stuff that's in the queue now. Wait for a bit. Here's all the stuff in the queue now.
Mm.
Until it's empty, so you don't get any signals between here and when you loop back around and wait here, and then
So
it just
actually,
waits.
what we are doing here is eliminating concurrency for the saving of the facts.
Yes.
So do we still need that wait in between?
Um, uh, yeah. If we didn't have the wait in between, we would still, yeah, as you pointed out, still solve the problem that we're seeing. Um, the um, the wait still, I think, gives you better behavior because without it, the first JDAT fact, then it would wake up, it would immediately start processing. So we would be in here when the second one comes in, and then the third and the fourth, and then network manager would come back and say, oh, here's three more. Let me save this graph too. So you would get two hits to the replicator, whereas this delay turns that into one.
Mm.
So I
Yeah.
think that's still an improvement. Although, yeah, as you point out, it's just the fact that we're putting this into a loop. Um, that's sufficient to resolve the immediate problem that we were seeing.
Mm.
Yep. So now, while building this out, the thing that I thought existed, I was sure existed, but doesn't exist, uh, is this little class right here. This async signal. Um, there is a class called a manual reset event that does not use task asynchronous programming. It's just blocking wait until this this primitive uh, has been signaled, and um, and so that that's a holdover from the pre .NET 4 point whatever days, um, and so I distinctly remember Stephen Tobe did a whole series of let's rebuild these synchronization primitives in task asynchronous programming, but I uh, I could not see a shipped version of the manual reset event. Um, Semaphore Slim is the thing that basically came out of that, and basically the idea is just implement everything with Semaphore Slim. Um, so I basically had to re-implement this idea of a manual reset event um, using task asynchronous programming. So we've got really the best way to do all this stuff is task completion source. So basically, that's taking a task, ripping it in half, and now you've got the thing that you can await, the task that you see from the outside, and then on the inside, basically the thing that advances the state machine.
Mm.
So this task completion source, when you like right here, when you want to reset it, you um, you create a brand new task completion source. When you want to signal it, you signal that task completion source, um, which try set result. So if it doesn't yet have a result, then that means anybody who's awaiting it, um, they're not awake yet. But then as soon as you set result for the first time, then they wake up. If it's already got a result, then just set result will throw an exception. So try set result. It actually returns a boolean to tell you whether it was able to set it, but I don't really care. I just, if it's not set, set it. So that will wake you up. And so now this task completion source will have a result, and anybody who tries to await it will immediately wake back up. So yeah, now this wait async, it combines a few different ideas, so you can have them all in the same place. So you can set a timeout. And you can also pass in a cancellation token. So whenever that timeout expires or the cancellation token is set, it'll immediately wake up. But otherwise, it's just awaiting that task completion source. And this is a manual reset event kind of a thing, because you don't automatically reset it when you wake up, but instead you have to call reset in order to close the gate again.
Yeah.
And that creates a brand new task completion source. So it's like, okay, I needed to build this in order to express this. So now I've got a gate that I can open in order to say it's time to process the signal. But then that gets you to this other gate that's, it's time to process the queue. And then you get you to this other gate, which is I'm going to delay here for a little while. So this one doesn't get signaled usually. You just delay for 100 milliseconds and then you keep going. But in the case that you want to process the queue now, you say, okay, it's somebody has called the Janaga client.push from the front end. So they want you to start working now. Then we'll also delay or signal that delay so that when it wakes up, it just immediately starts working. It doesn't wait another 100 milliseconds.
Yeah.
And then, so these are coming from the outside in. This current processing signal is going from the inside out. So here, yeah, there we go. The background's the thread, while it's waiting on these two, the delay and the processing, it's signaling the current processing result. So it's signaling whenever there's results ready for you. And that way you can say, when I want to process queue now from the front end, you signal a couple of times, and now you wait for this one to say, I'm finished. Which is why you have to reset it right at the beginning before you signal those two. So you kind of work it all out, look at all the different race conditions, how can things go, and this gives you the behavior that you're looking for. So if you're already going, then resetting this and then awaiting this thing to be signaled, that just means that between the time that you started and the time that it returns, it completed a round. And now having these signaled just means it goes through one extra time and doesn't do anything because the queue is empty. But then it closes those gates and now everything's back to normal. So when it hits a race condition, it fails in the direction of just going through the loop one extra time.
Which is, in fact, no problem.
Right.
Yeah.
So all of that, my goodness, I had to build a new primitive, channel my inner Stephen Tobe, and then build this background. But now the API is exactly as you would expect it to be. and you get the behavior that you want. So that makes me happy that you're not going to see a whole bunch of application developers having to reproduce that kind of logic. It's like, it's there, it works no matter what your application. So that means that we should be able to go to mesh. Let's see, wait, I'm at Janaga 124, which is sufficient to have this. It still has the other bug, so it's not up to 1130. But yeah, this should have the latest Firehose stuff. So we can go docker compose pull. Make sure that we've got the latest Prometheus, OpenTelemetry, Jaeger, Grafana, Loki, all that fun stuff. And then docker compose up -d -build. So now let's build all that new code. So yeah, I tested this on on the Mac and posted the new results I was seeing out of Grafana. So this should work. That's the whole point of Docker, right? Is that if it works on one machine, it should work on all of them.
Where did you post them, the results?
That is in the... let's go back to... It's in the general channel here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
I didn't follow that one.
Yeah, okay. This was the picture after we hung up from last week's stream, because we gave up right around here, and then it's like, oh no, it started back up again. Something's happening, so it's just burp, and then go back to 0. Burp, here's some more. Burp. Meanwhile, the facts loaded on the read side, it just stayed at 0. It's like, something's weird. And then after making this change, hey, that's nice. So constantly creating a nice steady stream of 10 offerings per second. Yeah, the reason that we see it up at 12.5 and then drop to 0 is just an average sampling error. So yeah, if you were to round these all out, it would be a nice steady 10 per second. But yeah, we see a nice steady 40 per second being saved, because it takes 4 facts in order to save one offering. And then down here, this line is also on the loaded side. I think one of those facts we don't index, because I think this was coming out at 30 per second. But yeah, it reached a nice little steady equilibrium. I believe that these two bumps were processing all of the facts that got queued while it was broken here. So these are still getting queued.
Yeah.
So I think that that cleared them out. Don't know why it didn't clear them out all at once, though. It went to a steady state, and then a higher steady state. But I let that run for a little bit, and then I doubled the throughput. So I said, okay, now instead of 10 per second, turn on the fire hose at 20 per second. And I was pleased to see that it jumped up to 80 per second facts, 80 facts per second saved. And yeah, from 30 up to 60. So yeah, okay. Doubling the input doubles the throughput. Perfect. So tried that again, another doubling, and it didn't jump that time. So like, okay, we might have found the edge on that particular laptop.
Yes.
So much better behavior. So we should be able to see the same thing here. And by the way, Cabbage had a question about versioning. It's like, oh yeah, I really need to write this down. But here's the versioning stuff. So I'm gonna have to do, first of all, some documentation on Janaga.net, Janaga.com, about versioning, because versioning is going to look different in each of them. It's the same basic idea, but the code is going to look different. Um, but then also do a video series on versioning and demonstrate those things. So, but that's out there too.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got that started. So we should be able to go here and see everything in the mesh is up and running. So let's go to Grafana. Okay. Let's see if we've got our throughput dashboard. Yes, we do. It's all working. All right. So we can see no replicator warnings except for the startup stuff. No offerings have been created yet. So I should be able to go in here to the fire hose. And hey, I should be able to do a .NET University fire hose DLL. And now we can start the fire hose at 10 offerings per second. And so yeah, still haven't fixed this issue where it needs to update that number. But I'm going to fix that issue before I actually show this as an example in the course. It might actually even be a different example because I do want to stick to kind of the storyline. I've created the kind of the story of let's see. Oh, yeah, that's what's happening. Sorry. Let me switch back to the book club. There we go. Now people can see. I've been talking and people can't see our videos. But yeah, I've got this storyline going of a company that buys and sells coffee beans. So that kind of fits in with all the things I want to demonstrate. So I should probably just change the names in this demo in order to make it look like the coffee bean thing. So we see some facts being saved. The graph hasn't updated yet with the offerings created, but clearly those have to be going in for that to be doing something. Let's just drill in here to make sure that everything is actually working. Okay, we do have one data point. It's a 0, but back to the dashboard. Yeah, and I'm not seeing anything happening on the read side, which is interesting. Because that should be waking up and doing its thing too. Let's take a quick peek at logs just to make sure everything is behaving nicely. So here's our replicator. Here's our fire hose. I don't see any logs from the indexer. Let's just make sure that hasn't crashed. So here's indexer. If I look from here, yeah, nothing is going on. I don't know why that hasn't started up. So let's just go ahead and give this a refresh. Oh, what was that? Unhandled exception. Oh, interesting. Okay. There's a bug to fix. Okay.
Murphy is back.
Yeah. Yeah, it saved a few things, then just bloop, stop. Okay, now here it's logging. Yes, I actually did save. Oh, facts loaded. Why are facts being loaded now? Facts are usually loaded only by the indexer. I don't understand. Okay, maybe when it was starting up, it was able to get the first round, but something happened and it wasn't able to continue. So this should drop back down to 0 again.
Yep.
There it goes. Yeah. Meanwhile, this is actually going to start filling up the replicator. And so this should rise up to 40 facts per second. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing about telemetry is you have to be patient. Um, it it's queuing up telemetry at the source, and so it might even take it a while to get to the collector, and then get out to Loki and Prometheus, and then get to Grafana. So yeah, you're looking back in time as you're looking at these graphs. Yeah, that. So
The
I'm
number
guessing
of
that.
fact safe is going down.
Yeah. Well, let's just see
And
if it was able to log. Yeah, so here's the indexer. It was able to log before it crashed. So, looks like we captured the error. Object did not contain a definition for stop. Oh, okay. I think what this is telling me is that I upgraded one library but not another. Yeah. Is I think making this change, you basically have to upgrade both Janaga Store SQLite and Janaga at the same time. So yeah, I do need to figure out how to change the NuGet packages so that it at the very least tells you that you made this kind of a problem. But yeah, that's what it's running into. So we should be able to, while it's running, let's try a quick fix. There we go. Okay, so I want to do a .NET add, and then in the in the source directory we've got university model, the package Janaga, and this should update that CS proj. So yep, here we are. It updated from 1124 to 1133. Okay. So this includes all of the fixes, and then at the same time I should be able to do a .NET add to source university indexer package, then Janaga store SQLite, and that should give me an upgrade there. Maybe not. Yeah, last time I wasn't paying attention and there was an error here, so I put it on the thumbnail. But this time I don't see any error. So I'm wondering if, yeah, the indexer, here's the indexer CS proj, 1110. I'm wondering if that is the latest one. So yeah, it's saying it's trying to install 1110. That's what's already there. Okay, so let's do the same thing for importer, just to be sure, and for Firehose, but I think I do all of them at the same time anyway. So yeah, trying that version on all of them, and it looks like they were all already set up. So now if I go back to mesh, let's see. Oh, wait, I'm supposed to be in university system, then mesh. Okay. Docker compose up -d -build. Now it should be good. So we should see these things shut down and restart. The fire hose won't start back up again. I will have to go in here and start it up myself. But yeah, it's still building. And almost there. Gotta recreate those containers, start them up. Okay, and now it's all started up. So if I come back in here, fire hose not running, so let's do that again. In fact, no, .NET, not Docker, .NET, university, fire hose, DLL, and start. Okay, so looking back in time, we'll see the shutdown happen. Although, well, this is saying that the indexer is pulling stuff. Okay, let's check logs. Yeah, here's the fire hose logging a whole bunch of things. I'm logging stuff. I'm writing. So here's the importer. Yeah, the importer's not doing anything for us. That's the one that takes a file and puts that in. The indexer. Yes, this is the one that was having trouble. So that one, 855, that would have been just before the shutdown, yeah. Yeah, so it started to index, detected, oh, okay, so yeah, this is a log from Nest, Elasticsearch. And then it bulk indexed 99 offerings. Nice, almost round number. Oh, here, 200 offerings. Successfully indexed 99 and then got 200. Interesting numbers. Anyway, it looks like it's doing the right thing now. So we go back to the throughput. And so this should level out at about 12.5 down to 0, 12.5 again. And this should pop up. Oh, actually, yeah, here it is starting to level out at around 40. But yeah, facts saved jumped up as it emptied its queue. And so facts read. And now we're idling at 0 again. Interesting. Yeah. Let that one sit there and be happy. Indexer, meanwhile. Yeah. Interesting. I have no idea why indexer is not showing any activity. Yeah, it hasn't done anything since this. So I'm wondering if there is an issue with my my long polling. Because at this point, since it's using subscribe, it should be holding open a connection to the replicator, and then the replicator says, oh, I've got something for you. But there is a timeout on the long poll of about 4 minutes, I think it was. And so after 4 minutes, it'll try again. And so if there is a long polling problem, it'll say, oh, I've got some stuff, and it'll start pulling that in. And since it's constant feed, it should keep going. So yeah, we might be seeing a long polling problem. But yeah. So with this, I was definitely seeing an improvement on the saved side, and I think we are finally replicating that improved behavior here. So still
At
some
least
things
with
to
the
look at.
with the telemetry, we see that what is going on.
Yep.
Um,
Yes, indeed.
Before that was like a black box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is going to be, um, yeah, this is going to be a huge improvement for folks who are, trying to use, Jagger in their own stuff. It's like, I don't know what this is, what this thing's doing. If it doesn't work, is it because of me? Is it because of a bug in the library? I don't know. Um, so yeah, having this example out there for people to to play with, that's really going to be helpful. So yeah, I also want to put together some videos and some documentation to just really make sure that everybody's got what they need.
Mm.
All right, but that is what I've been working on. Fun stuff. So yeah, next week you will be here. We've established.
Next week I will be there.
Very good. Yeah, and so hopefully we'll figure something else out on that university example. Let's see if I can figure out the long polling issue, if indeed that's happening, and hopefully I'll also have a graph that shows utilization as a percentage, so that we can then play around with that formula, and predict when it's going to tip over, or at least when it's going to stop increasing, and then also see if we can put it into some other invalid states and find other bugs.
Great. From my side, I will try to pick up DWS.
Fantastic.
Now that I have some room around me,
Yeah.
there is some place for bits and bytes now.
Very good. Yep. Yeah. I really want to learn what
Mm.
your experience is. You're doing a .NET application using the library.
Mm. Good. There
Yeah.
will be no telemetry inside yet, but we just get the screens and the saving of the facts, and the
Yeah.
loading. That would be great.
Yep. Yep. So keep notes. Any issues that you run into, make sure
Mm.
to take a note. We can address them on stream. But then I also want to make sure I address them in the documentation.
Mm-hmm. All right, Michael. See you next week then.
Very good. Yep. See you then.
Okay.